Hello, everyone. Welcome. Oh, happy Saturday. Happy February. So, I know it's been a little while since I've been in here. I have just arrived back in the US, back at home after being on a 3 week trip to Ireland, participating in ceremony and a pilgrimage and visiting sites and doing grid work and devotion during Imbolc to Brigid and being a part of a parade and singing songs. So I'm so grateful to be back and also for the experience. And I'm still integrating, and so I am really excited to continue to share more as I continue to integrate. And for today, what is really wanting to come through, I know I started doing the calls on Sunday, and this morning in my meditation, I woke up and I'm like, oh, this is like feels really alive right now, and I really want to share it because a big part of my experience being on this trip was group dynamics and being in a group of the first portion was about 14 of us, 14 to 16, and then the second portion was 19 and a small baby. And, we were in cottages where, groups of us stayed in different cottages and we were all like in kind of the same building but in our different like units. And it was a really beautiful experience to really one get to know people and also like meet edges in group dynamics and in relating and in living with people and in traveling together. And for me, one of the biggest takeaways from this particular part of the experience was my capacity being expanded, really, and really learning how to navigate my own needs, while also leaning into the edge of being in group dynamics. And what do I need, and how do I take care of myself, but also how do I lean in and be a part of this co creation with other people? And noticing what's happening in my nervous system, and noticing in the beginning how my nervous system wanted to go into the flee response and, like have my own space and all the things. And then really leaning into being a part of this like co living environment, which is new for me and with people I didn't really know, and how it all started to really flow really well. And we were all helping out, and we cooked a meal for the group, and the flow of us in the kitchen and just doing the dishes and cleaning, and how it all became this cohesiveness and this really like beautiful way to like integrate community and family living that isn't necessarily how I like live my normal life. It's just me and my partner. And so to be able to step in a space with that is a co-living space and meet kind of these other like uncomfortable dynamics was a really beautiful way to grow and expand, and lean into that edge and support and be supported. And um, so I just want to speak a little bit about this because, this is a big thing that happens like in intimate relationships and in friendships and in family ships and also just in group dynamics in general. And, like it's really easy to be alone or to be with one person that we really vibe with and really trust and we really, just mesh with their energy. But then when we start mixing in, more people or more dynamics or people we don't know or other energies and people in their processes, a lot can get stirred up. And this happens in retreats and traveling and pilgrimages and even online containers and all of this. And it's really, really such a beautiful opportunity for us to continue to expand. because we're leaning into new territory. We're leaning into more mirrors of ourself. We're leaning into more of like, oh, like refining the nervous system subtleties and like what's happening in my nervous system, and also prioritizing like what I need for myself while also like still showing up and respecting in the group space. And so I really feel there's so much medicine here, and it's so alive right now to really share this, especially as I step more into the space of facilitating practitioners and facilitators and teaching sound healing training and leading retreats and things like that, and how powerful and expansive group dynamics can be. And when we really lean into it, and going from like, 5 years ago, really like not even wanting to like interact very much in group dynamics, or kind of only like dipping in and pulling out, to now like immersing myself in a way where it's like really stretching me, but also there's a lot of joy and a lot of beauty in that. And then knowing when to like pause and like take a nap, or take a walk, or get some rest, or have some solo time, or some spaciousness. So really it's like we're kind of like fine tuning and becoming more aware of like what's happening in our soma, like in every moment, and in these dynamics, and what we need. And it's so beautiful to be able to navigate this, because when we do get in these containers, and and people are having their processes, and things are shifting, and the frequencies are high, and there's a lot of movement, and there's a lot of self responsibility that needs to happen, and like really taking care of ourselves, but also supporting one another. And so this has just been a really huge opportunity for growth for me, and expansion, and being in a space with this many people for this amount of time, um, in a way that just feels really important in my own personal like soul evolution, and just noticing how I continue to just show up more and more, instead of like that flee response. So if you've ever like gone on a retreat, or been with your family, or like in a place, and then all of a sudden you got really triggered or activated, and then you just like got in your car and like took off, right? Or you like pieced out, or you took a walk and you left, or whatever it was, or you got the urge of like you wanted to leave, right? That is like the nervous system's response. So what happens is we have the choice, and there's no like right or wrong, or judgment or shame, right? We can always choose how we want to show up. And what I'm interested in for myself, and also teaching practitioners and facilitators in my training, is to just notice and become aware of what's happening in the moment, what's happening for us, and then also helping our clients to become aware. And so then when we are aware of like the nervous system response happening, we can choose if we want to take off, or we can choose to take a breath and like be with it, and see if we can just meet it without needing to act on whatever the urge is, that urgency that comes up of like needing to run, or whatever the response is for you. Sometimes we freeze, we go numb, and see if we can like, what do we need in the moment, and then see if we can meet ourselves there. And maybe it's as simple as like, oh, we just like need to take a walk, or maybe we just need to take a shower, or get some water, like whatever it is. And then we can actually like, our system begins to settle, and this is how we begin to like repattern our system to feel safe in these situations that may have been more activating, and also to really expand our capacity to hold. So when these situations do arise, it's like we're actually not getting triggered at all anymore, because we are rewiring ourselves, and we're able to like hold more. So when there's like more chaos or more activation, it's like it actually doesn't really affect us as much, right? And so we continue to like expand and expand and expand and grow in that. And so these opportunities with groups and different energies and different people are really beautiful ways to do that and to support that. And so if you have an opportunity to be part of a retreat or a training or a pilgrimage or traveling or whatever that is group dynamics, and I'm not saying like the one-on-one things aren't amazing, because there is an opportunity to go really deep one-on-one too, but I think it's like a whole different dynamic when we can, like weave it with multiple people, multiple energies, multiple needs, things like that, and really learn to like meet ourselves and meet the group. So I just really wanted to share that because it felt really alive, since that was like really, I feel like, a big part of what I received from this experience. Of course, there were a lot of other activations and things I'll be talking about, with the land and Bridget and the elders and everything else. But this just was really alive today, and I think it's going to continue to be alive. And I am holding sound therapy practitioner training, which is retreat style, and it is going to be like a group dynamic, as well as the training, the trauma informed training for practitioners in my sanctuary space. And this really allows us to kind of really tune in together to these dynamics. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely reach out. Enrollment is open for all the things, and I would love to hear from you and just hear how this resonates, and if you've noticed this in your life, and um, how you interact with it. And blessings, happy Saturday, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will hopefully see you next week.